Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe. The primary goal of my fast cooking system is to make home cooking sustainable. For me, the most important aspect of home cooking is that to make it interesting with diversity and variations. Over the years, I have accumulated a number of templates, and one of such templates is to make pizza. You're probably already wondering what pizza has to do with wok cooking. It turned out that the wok actually are going to be used in this video demonstrate how to make pizza using my pizza template. I have to tell you this story how I got into this pizza making business. My wife loves pizza. She grew up with pizza. I did not, and I do not like cheese as much as she does. So pizza for me is kind of very much of a neutral thing. This all changed about 15 years ago when we went on a Alaskan cruise. Every evening on the top deck of the ship where the swimming pool is located, somebody will be making pizza there. This is by far the best pizza that I have ever eaten. The reason is that this pizza has very thin crust. I have never seen pizza made like this before. So every evening, I will make sure that I do not fill myself with dinner, so I will still have room for pizza. We were their regular customers to the point that we were calling each other by first names. I learned from watching them how they do it. The secret of making very thin crust pizza is to bake the crust first before you add the toppings. In order to bake the pizza very quickly, either the topping are already cooked or they don't need to cook very much at all. They use a wood-burning oven, and they could bake the pizza usually in less than 1 or 2 minutes. I just love their thin crusts, and I could not eat enough of them on that cruise. So after I got back, I tried to figure out how to achieve the same result. This is when I developed the template that I am using in this video. Okay, let's get going. Because I have a lot of things prepped in advance, the time when I walk in the kitchen is about 4 o'clock, and the first pizza came out from the oven right around 4:35. I plan to make 5 different pizzas, with some with thin crust and some with thick crust, because my wife likes pizza with thick crust. Again, this is the beauty of template-based cooking, because I'm free to make adjustments as the individual preferences of our family members. The first thing I did when I walked into the kitchen is to take some bacon that I have already cut into small pieces and put it in the sink for thawing. Since I also like to have shrimp on my pizza, so I also thaw out some frozen shrimp. While this was being thawed, I'm going to get the dough ready. Since I'm planning to make 5 pizzas altogether, I'm going to use about 2 cups of bread flour. You can use any flour, all-purpose flour will do the job, since I have bread flours available because I make bread often. To the mixing bowl, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of quick yeast, which do not need to resuspend in water first. I then going to add about 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. This is followed by adding 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I then break an egg into about 1 cup of hot water, which come from the tap. I then beat up the egg. Now I'm ready to put the dough together. You probably noticed that I do not make any precise measurement because I've been baking bread for about a couple years. I know the property of dough quite well, and the pizza dough is far less critical as compared to bread dough. Therefore, slight variations of this individual amount is not going to make too much of a difference. Again, because I use template-based cooking, my focus is always on understanding the process. As my friend chef once told me, he said, if you understand the process, you will have the intuition for knowing how much to put in. And without any question, this is a much better way to cook. I next add the fluid to the flour mixture. I add a little bit at a time, and then I mix it as I add the fluid. At the end, you will notice that I want to make sure there are still a little bit of dry flour left. I then put the flour dough mixture at this point into my KitchenAid stand mixer. I'm going to knead the dough for about 10 minutes. By the end, you notice that the dough is dry enough that it will not stick to the side of the mixing bowl, but it's wet enough that it's still soft. While the dough is being kneaded in the stand mixer, I'm going to prepare the rest of the ingredients. I have most of the ingredients already through my advanced prepping. I need to make some modifications to some of them, but that only takes a few minutes. I already have some sliced onion on hand. The next thing is I want to chop up some mushrooms so they will be small enough to go on the pizza and able to cook quickly. My son liked the pizza to be spicy, so I chop up some jalapeno pepper. My wife told me that she would like to have some fresh tomato on her pizza, so I slice up some Roma tomatoes. We all love black olives on the pizza, so I open a can of black olive and I slice them. By now the shrimp is already thawed, so I chop them up into about the size of an index finger. By this time the bacon has already thawed, so I'm going to cook the bacon in the wok. By cooking the bacon in advance, it will cook very fast when it goes onto the pizza. I cook the bacon to a crisp texture before I remove them from the wok. And then I cook half of my sliced onion because my son liked the onion to be a little bit cooked rather than have them raw. However, my wife liked the onion uncooked or more raw when they go on the pizza, so I'm going to leave the other half. Now I have all my ingredients ready to go. Now the dough is ready. I took them out from the mixer. They are in perfect texture. They're a little bit soft, but they are not too wet. So I dust my kitchen counter with a lot of flours so that the dough will not stick to the counter. By this time, the dough has already risen a little bit, so I punch it down and knead it a little bit more before I roll them. I then shape the dough and cut them into small chunks that will be used for making individual pizza. The rest is pretty easy. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the rolling pin and roll the dough as thin as I possibly can. At this point, it is important make sure you flour the surface of the dough as well as the rolling pin, in addition, of course, to the kitchen counter, so it will not stick to it. I'm now ready to bake the shell of the pizza. I have preheated the oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to bake the pizza on a pizza stone which has already been set in the oven. I'm going to use a metal pizza pedal to put the pizza in the oven. I want to make sure that I flour the surface of the pizza pedal very well so the pizza will slide in and out easily. Because the pizza shell is very thin, so when you put it in the oven, it bakes very rapidly. It takes only about a couple minutes. I'm going to bake the pizza shell about halfway done, and I will finish baking it when I put toppings on top of it. As you notice that some of the dough has rise quite a bit from the baking, so I use basically a spoon to press it down a little bit before I spread tomato sauce on top of it. The remaining is pretty easy. Then you put whatever topping that you prefer. In this case, I start with some lettuce and I fill it with other toppings. It was very nice because I'm baking 5 different pizzas, so I was able to vary the toppings based on individual preferences. I then put the pizza back into the oven and I set the timer for about 5 minutes. The baking time is relatively short, and this is the reason why it is important to cook the bacon ahead of time. So okay, now the pizza is done. I have also examples of some other pizzas that I have baked that look slightly different. As you can tell, my pizza is not perfectly round. I'm still not very good in making the dough or the shell exactly round. This is probably something that I need to work on, but it's really not important in many ways as long as it tastes good to you. I really enjoy making pizza. It is a fun activity, and I really enjoy the creativity in creating pizzas with different toppings. Both my wife and my son enjoy the pizzas, but because we are able to cook it ourselves, we're able to make the pizza exactly how we like it. So this is an example of how I put my fast cooking system to work with flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking. As you can see, it not only works for stir frying in the wok, but it also works for making pizza in the oven. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, please click the like icon below because this will help me to expand my audience base. I am now posting video about one every day. And if you'd like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.